Whoa, all the old man noises. Hammer. We do it nice because we do it twice. I seriously need a different hobby. Oh. Welcome back to the shop. We're back on the BetsyRoss project. Our last video, I left you with the front axle. We're having some problems with the brakes. We had a couple things that were left from the test drive. Oof. So let's get to it. So this notch right there, you can kind of see it right there at the end. I'll pull this off and you can see them both. But this is what is causing our issue. I'm pretty sure of it. What that does is over time, the pad wears a hole in this slider here. And so it ends up, when you put new brakes on, the new pad kind of sits on a riser or a slider that kind of push it in, and as you use it, it kind of slides in. Eventually it would self-clearance and it would work its way back into that groove and everybody would be happy and fine, but for a long time it would have a brake smell and it could probably warp the rotors. So tonight we're going to solve that. We're going to fix it real quick. It doesn't take much time. It just takes getting the welder out, filling in those holes, getting it nice and hot, grinding it off, and then making sure that the pad moves evenly on it. So let's get to it. Neighbor?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Bringing back stuff.
Oh, after successful. Okay. Next step is to test drive it and see if that problem comes back. If it comes back, then we might have a bad caliper or air in the line. I don't know. That probably solved it though. So let's take it for a ride and see what we find out. Is the transfer case linkage. which is up in there. So I think what I need to do is loosen these guys up a little bit here. All right, I think we got the right wrench now. There we go. So we gotta take this guy. We gotta spin the center thing. I don't know which way we gotta go here, because this has got to be able to go back. Or, so we gotta lengthen this guy out. Yeah, we gotta let that go all the way out there. Let's try that. 'Cause that has gotta be all the way back. Let's try that. All right, that should do it. Let's shift it through the gears and make sure it works. We got to drive it to see if that solves the problem, but that seems like better the way that it feels. So that's the first time that I've used that kind of a linkage. I'll put a link in the corner of when I installed it, and there's a link in the description for that piece of conversion because I didn't put the factory linkage back in. So I think we've got it adjusted now. We've got to drive it again, see if that solves the problem. I don't remember adjusting it before, but I might have just kind of winged it and said, all right, this probably will work. But now I can definitely feel the detent, and I can see that there's a little bit difference there. So hopefully we have that solved. On to the next thing. Okay, transfer case linkage, front brakes. I think the sway bar and the caster adjustment, I'm going to let those be for now. They're not critical. They make it drive a little better, but I can come back to that. So I want to test drive it again and see if we have solved those two issues. And then I can throw the track bar in it. That'll take me just a couple minutes. And then I might take it somewhere to have it aligned. I don't know. I got to decide whether I need to convert to adjustable lower control arms or not. We'll get there. So here we go. Test drive number 5 or 6 or something. Let's see if we can get that brake to lock up again. Little buddy went for a test ride with me. Got back, drove okay. I don't smell brakes over there. I'll have to jack it up and see. I didn't go as far. So let's jack it up and see if those brakes are hung up or at least even. I don't think they are. I think we might have solved it, but let's just check. We might have to go for a longer test drive to know for sure. Transfer case linkage, definitely solved. No issues there. That entire vibration, all the noise is all pretty much gone. I think that one's solved. So you know what? And it was raining, so we lost our list. But the sway bar and the alignment still need to happen. Let's jack this thing up and check to see if that brake is still hung up. All right. That seems about the same as it did when we left. Let's check the passenger side. See what that one does for us. It's just about the same. Well, that one might spin a little bit easier. So maybe that was inconclusive. They're about the same temperature. Yeah, they're about the same temperature. I mean, we only went maybe 4 or 5 miles this time. Last time we went about 20. So we'll have to go for a little bit longer of a drive to know for sure. But at least on the surface, looks good. Brakes work really well. So when you hit the brakes, it stops. We locked them up a couple of times tonight. But it is raining, so locking them up is something that happens. But otherwise, I think that solved that for now. And move on to the rest of it. Okay. We ran the thermal imager on them. The driver's side was just a little bit warmer by about maybe 10-15 degrees. Inconclusive results. I went ahead and bled the brakes again just to make sure. No air came out, so I think we got to drive it for a little longer, see how it does, and adjust based on that. Next thing I got to do is put that sway bar in. We do it nice because we do it twice. This guy just... Oh, there's a spacer that goes in there. I gotta get those spacers. There we go. Oh, all the old man noises. Yeah, that's what we're after. Hammer. I'm short a clip, so I gotta find one of those, and then we're good. Sway bar is in. Brakes are fixed-ish, we think, maybe. What else was on that list that got washed off? Oh, transfer case linkage is fixed. It's time to drive it again. You know what, actually, I did notice one other thing. I'm gonna find some more lug nuts and fill out the rest of the lug nuts. It's just, you know, little things, right? We don't need all 5 of them. Seems to be some kind of an issue with this thing stopping. I think the rear brakes are locking up and the front ones are not as effective as they should be. so it might be a proportioning valve issue. I'm going to set you guys here. You guys look at the road and you tell me what's locking up. Well, what was it? I think it was the back ones. Tell me. Okay. Well, we just got back and it went pretty well. The back brakes are really touchy. They're locking up really easily. That can be it's all brand new rotors, or I'm sorry, brand new drums and shoes and springs and everything in the back is completely brand new. So sometimes that takes some time to set in. I knew that. Front very touchy as well, but it's not locking up. Now we have, we measure the temperature on that. We have 140 in there, and then let's see what we got over here. About 140, 145. They're about even enough, at least for now. We'll have to take it on a longer drive to see. 120, 125. Let's see what we got over here. Now it's a little bit warmer. 130, 140. That makes me wonder, I mean, maybe the one side is a little bit tighter. They were both locking up in the back pretty evenly, so I think that's, yeah, so that's about the same. So they're even side to side or close enough within spec, so we'll take it on some longer drives and see if that works. Sway bar does make it feel a little bit better, but it's still got some weirdness in the front. I know that's alignment, but I've also got to get that back end to sag down because it's got so much rake to the front of it. It's just not, it's not driving normal. It's not driving right. So I need more weight in the back. I need to get those springs to settle in. But that's it. That's good. All right. We're gonna move on. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next. Probably drive it. Just got back, drove it to work today, and did great. Really good. Only issues so far that's still remaining is the right rear tire. The brake is the touchiest that I've ever seen. I don't know. It seems like maybe it's adjusted out a little bit too far or something, or I may still have something going on in the background there. So I'm going to rebleed the back. I rebled the front brakes, but I got to rebleed the back one. Say that 100 times. And maybe that'll solve that, but otherwise it drives fine. It's just when you hit the brakes any large amount, that back tire just like locks up. So a little bit more to check into there. We'll do that next. See what happens. This is a pretty frustrating situation that I'm in right now. There's one thing I really don't like doing, is the same thing twice or 3 times. But here's what we got. So I realized that when I went to check on these things that it wasn't quite right, and these are really a pain to do. I'm really upset at myself for not doing this right the first time, so we're gonna have to do it a second time. Here's what happened. This guy right here is supposed to be connected to this guy back here, and it's not. So this little cable down here is not right. So we have to put that cable into that slot, and we have to put it all back together again. So, and it's not something you can do when it's all in there. Somehow that got messed up. And now I get to pay the price. Come on. Well, this is why we do shakedown runs. I got that pretty well adjusted to where it needs to be now. Alright, now parking brake should be even. Try that. And yep, it's good and solid. And release, and it is loose again. Okay, so those two sides are even. Put the wheels back on, go for a test drive. Well, I have gone over the back brakes extensively. I did find the one problem and solved it. Cannot find any other issues there. I looked at the proportioning valve. That all looks like it's normal. There is a little rubber piece missing, but I don't think that's an issue. Keep in mind, we did get this Jeep in parts, so there's possibility that the brake system was not working when we got it, and that was previously damaged. So it's possible that the proportioning valve is sending too much fluid to the back, and that's why they're locking up. But I think in my head, I think what's going on here is I know that those shocks are fully extended. I know that those springs are they're not bending much once the weight gets on there. And one of the things that I do have on my list is to sag the rear springs. And sagging the rear springs means that I need to put some weight in the back. And I would like to know, once I get some proper weight in the back of this thing and those springs working the way they're supposed to, will this not lock up the brakes? Does that solve the problem just because we have better traction back there and we can apply them a little bit harder in the front? I don't know. It's kind of a theory right now. That's going to be the next thing I got to do. So I got to go find a bunch of really heavy stuff, put it in the back of this thing and drive it around and see what happens. I don't feel comfortable taking it for inspection with the back brakes locking up every time you hit the pedal. So we've got a couple more things that we can solve while we're tinkering on it, and if I get pulled over, I can just tell them that I'm trying to solve a problem. And hopefully I don't get arrested, or, well, not arrested. I won't get arrested for that. But hopefully I don't get a ticket for not being inspection. The nice thing is, really weird, but the 2025 stickers are a very similar color to the 2016. So maybe cops don't notice that it says 16 and not 25 on it. But anyway, that's it for now. Next thing I gotta do is put some weight in the back of this thing, keep driving it, see what happens. Happy Saturday. It is Saturday, and we're Saturdaying. This is a bin. Yeah. That'll fit nicely. Next thing we gotta do, come on, put a whole bunch of heavy stuff in it. So density wise, there's few things that can reach the heaviness of Quikrete. So take the Quikrete, put it in the bin, and immediately add 360 pounds to the back of this thing, and hopefully that's enough to start to get those springs to start to do their thing. Let's get to it. Not my idea of fun. Don't want dust. Oh, I don't want concrete dust all over the clean interior, you know. I don't really want it all over my truck either. Whew. I'm too old for this. Okay. I seriously need a different hobby. Okay. Now we should get some action out of those springs. We're gonna have to get those springs to sag down quite a bit more, but it definitely made a difference in the ride. It definitely made a difference in the way that the brakes work. I have to get on them pretty hard now to lock it up. Still a little bit touchy on the one side, but I think I'm gonna run it a little bit and break it in and see if I can do that. Maybe try to bleed them again to see if there's any more air in there, but that's pretty much it for this. I'm gonna wrap up this episode and get it on the computer and get it up to you guys, and we're gonna just keep driving it. There's some odds and ends that we need to get done. We're gonna get it inspected, and we'll see after we drive it a little bit with all this weight in the back, see how well it does to, you know, calm those springs down, make sure the ride's good. Hopefully we should be able to turn it over to her pretty soon. So thanks so much for stopping out. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one. That was Dirt Road Therapy John in the school bus. That's some pretty good timing right there.